So welcome to the second lecture on problem solving strategies. Module 1, Algorithmic Thinking with Python. In the last class, we have seen what are the major problems in our everyday life. How are we going to approach these problems? We have tried to define what are problems. Okay, definitions for problems. Last class I told you that problem can be as small as which movie to watch today evening to a very important decision in your career, which company to go for a job or which job profile to choose, which course to choose after your plus 2 is completed and so on. So problems, we have a variety of problems and we have different approaches to solve these problems. In today's session, what we intend to do is that we intend to discuss how are we going to approach the problems and how we are going to solve the problems as such. What are the major steps that we need to take so that we can solve all our problems. The last class we have defined these problems. In this class we will see the strategies to solve these problems. And all these things are scientifically defined and all these points are given in your textbooks in a very clear and listed manner. So we have 6 important steps to solve our problems. The first step is to identify the problem itself. What is meant by identifying the problem? This is a very crucial and the first stage of solving a problem. That means that we have to identify the problem. We have to identify what is unknown. What is the problem that we are going to solve? We have to define a problem statement. The last class I told you that defining a problem statement in such a way that it has a solution is a big challenge, is a great challenge. So the first step towards solving any problem is finding out the problem itself. What are the unknowns? Why do you need to address a particular problem? Or there exists something that you need to solve. As I told you in the previous or in the first session, we have some problems. We have lots of problems. Like if you take, say, air traffic control, navigation is a problem. You need to know what are the paths or what are the routes that an aircraft has to take, right? You need to have a navigation system that guides the pilot in such a way that if you are starting your flight from Coimbatore or Cochin and you wanted to enter and reach Chennai, the pilot should be directed in a very systematic manner so that he reaches the correct destination. So there is a problem that exists, right? And we have to identify the exact problem. Same thing is with our everyday life. Everyday life, say whether it is we do not have any means of networking with people. That was once upon a time a big problem. You do not know how many people are there in your field. You do not know, you do not have any kind of networks. That was a problem that was defined long back. In order to solve your real-time problem, there came a solution. Say solutions like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. They wanted to connect or bring out the networking among people who wanted to do a same kind of job or profession or whatever it is. So the initial problem, the first thing that we face is that we have to identify the problem correctly. Now, whenever I am talking to you now, since it is the first few sessions, I'm not talking anything that is much technical. As you enter deep into the subject and when we start thinking about solving problems using our computers, using our programs and related algorithms, we can understand in depth what I meant by or what is meant here by identifying the problems. We have a lot of different kinds of algorithms. We have artificial intelligence algorithms, we have different types of methods through which we approach problems. Say, for example, we have something called as computer vision. Okay, we are trying to mimic several biomimicking. We used to mimic certain animals. Have you seen, how many of you are used to driving cars, especially in highways? How many students here? No, not necessarily you are driving, you are accompanying your parents, your friends, or anybody, and you're going in a car. When you drive your car in the night, you can see that we have reflectors on the road. You have red color or yellow color objects shining in the road that is called as reflectors, that is used to guide the drivers towards a particular path. So this is a very good example of, first, we are identifying the problem that the drivers driving in the night might face very serious issues if they are not guided properly towards the road. Am I right? Yes, sir. So this is the problem. This is the problem that is being identified. Now, solution to this problem was first identified by mimicking the eyes of a cat. Do you know that? The reflectors in the road are biomimics of eyes of a cat. When you hit the light on the eyes of a cat, it shines like a something, so it shines very bright. This was the concept that was implemented, and this was the way in which reflectors came into existence. So I'm telling you that when you come into the computing problems and engineering problems, we have so many problems, we have so many solutions, for some of which we use what is called as biomimicry. That means that we are using certain features of animals to solve our existing problems. Similarly, we have something called as computer vision. We expect a system or a, what do you say, expect a system or something that we are going to develop to see things like what we are seeing. We have different kinds of algorithms. Do you know how bat senses an object on its path? Is there anybody who knows about that? We have an AI algorithm called as BAT algorithm. You know that you can go to internet or chat GPT, Google or anywhere and search for BAT algorithm. BAT algorithm something works like a, how a bat is capable of tracking an object on its path. The same way, the same methods are being adopted and we work on that. The problem is that, say for example, a drone or something is flying. It has an object on the way. It has to automatically track this object and it has to find out an alternative path and keep going ahead. So this is the problem. For this problem, we have a solution called as OpenCV, what we call as computer vision technologies, where we use different algorithms like BAT algorithm or similar kinds of algorithms. Different kinds of algorithms are being used to solve these problems. So, in our 6 steps for solving problems, the first step is about identifying the exact problem, and these exact problems should have a method or a strategy that shows us how we are going to solve this problems. So identifying the problem is the first step towards solving any problem. Okay? So identifying the problem also includes what are the unnecessary or redundant things that you need to avoid, what are the conditions, basic conditions that is required for the problem. The next step, second step towards problem solving is understanding the problem. So in order to approach your problem in a scientific or a systematic way of problem solving, you need to understand what the real problem is. That means in the first stage, we have only identified the problem. The second stage, we need to have the basic technical knowledge on what the problem is. Okay, whether what kind of solution this problem might require. Okay, the knowledge base. The same example, you can use it as an analogy, whichever I told you. Suppose you are traveling in the night, the roads are extremely dark, you don't have any reflectors, you don't have any idea on how to go ahead. Of course, you have your headlights, but do you think that is enough for you to travel very smoothly on the road in the nights? No. Sometimes you may end up beyond the road, you may cross the road. There might be turnings, sharp turnings or sharp cuts towards left, right, or any other direction. So in that case, you need to get yourself or you need to get the driver directed in a very smooth way so that he's able to travel as comfortably as possible. Okay, so we need to understand the problem thoroughly. First, we have identified the problem. We know that there is some problem. A driver cannot drive very smoothly in the roads if he is not properly directed. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that we have to understand the problem. Understand the problem requires the basic knowledge. Only those who have real experience. When I am telling you all these things, those who have had real experience driving in the night in the roads will really feel it, will understand it in depth. The others may not be able to understand the problem. They might know that there is a problem, it is existing somewhere or the other, but only those who have experienced the problem can understand the problem in depth. So that is the difference between identifying the problem and understanding this problem in depth. What kinds of solutions can be implemented? Only when there is a proper scientific method through which we are able to understand the problem, we can go ahead towards solving the problem. So the second and the most important step towards problem solving is to understand the problem. Understanding the problem requires, see, I'm talking to you all these things in a layman terms. As we go ahead, we'll look into these things, all these problems in a very strong technical manner. At that time, maybe you can get really into this problem. So you can note it down that the second step towards problem solving is understanding the problem. You are planning to set all the other situations so comfortable enough that you can find out ways to solve your problem. That is what is understanding the problem means here. All terms that we are using is not purely or directly with respect to the common terms that we are using in our everyday life. We have certain defined meanings for certain terms, and so it is better that you concentrate well before you start writing your notes. The next step towards solving problems is, after you have understood the problems, what you can do is that you can devise different methods of solving this problem. There could be more than one method, or there could, for almost all the problems, we have multiple number of solutions. So the third step in problem solving is to identify different methods with which we are going to solve the problem. What are the different ways? If not this, what is the next? If this does not work, or this has some other problem, what to do with the next? So these are all the methods, or these are all different ways. One direct way would be there to solve a problem. There would be n number of alternative ways to solve the problem. So what we do when we approach the problem scientifically, what we have to do is that we have to enumerate, list down all the ways through which we can solve a problem, so that the next stage we can identify the best solution to the problem. So the third step towards solving a problem is to identify the different ways with which we can solve a problem. Okay? So now that we have listed down different ways of solving the problem, next we have to find out which among this is the best. So the next stage in problem solving strategy is to select the best way of solving the problem from the list of all possible solutions. We have created a list of all possible solutions, and from that we'll be analyzing each and every possible solution, and based on the analysis, what we'll do is that we'll select the best solution for the problem. So the fifth and the sixth step. Fifth step is to list instructions that enable you to solve the problem using the selected solution. You have already selected a solution from the list of possible solutions, all possible solutions. In that, what we are going to do is that we are going to write down the instructions, or we are going to make down a step-by-step approach. We are going to break it down into pieces or modules and list down all possible steps that we need to take so that the selected solution really works out. So this is the fifth step in problem solving. The final and the last step is to evaluate, to analyze how good is your solution. How good is your solution to the problem? We have done all these things. We have identified the problem. We have understood the problem. We have identified the different ways through which we can solve the problem. We have selected the best option, best from the alternative. And finally, and fifth one, we have made out the steps through which we are going to solve using the best method. And the last one is, after you have done all the solutions, we have to check how good is our solution. That is evaluating the solution. The last step towards solving a problem. So the next topic in our syllabus is about importance of understanding multiple problem solving strategies. Importance of understanding multiple problem solving strategies. Most of the problems that come across in our everyday life or in our engineering field do not have a direct or a straightforward solution. We don't have any direct solution to many of the problems that we are going to solve. That's a reality that we need to understand. Okay? So now how we are going to solve using multiple problem solving strategies. Most of the solutions, say for example, if you are working in a financial institution or if you are working for a financial institution, you might have multiple problems at the same time, right? Not just one problem. You might be having one upon the other upon the other. When you try to solve one problem, there might be another problem that crops up. Usually you can see this even in medical field and so on. When any of some of your organs working properly, you get admitted into a hospital, you can always see that there will be some another organ that malfunctions or creates some of the other problems. So when one problem is getting solved, what happens is that there might be a situation in most cases where so many other problems pop up. Am I right? This happens in your everyday life also. When you are planning for a movie, you have wanted to enjoy a very good movie. You have used your mobile apps to book your tickets. After you have done all these things, you will get a call from some of your relatives saying that he or she is going to come to your home today. So all your plans get collapsed. Am I right? Yes or no? So similarly, what we have is that we have problems popping up one after the other. So we need to understand multiple problem solving strategies. For this also we have a scientifically designed steps, 3 or 4 steps which you need to follow so that you can solve multiple problems. The first step is adaptability. Different problems require different approaches. Adaptability means you should be capable of adapting to the situations. Like I told you in the example before, you have planned for the movie, everything is ready and everything is fine. You have purchased new dresses, you made everything ready. All of a sudden, you got something else coming. So what you can do, you can adapt to the situations in different ways. So this is the first thing that you need to do. You should understand how you can adapt to different situations as and when every situation pops up. Second point is efficiency. We have multiple strategies, right? Certain things are more efficient than the other. We have to analyze the efficiency of each and every strategy. Once we define a problem solving strategy, we need to know that whether that strategy is adaptable to different kinds of situations. Number one. Second thing is that we should analyze how efficient that strategy is going to work in real time. Okay? So some strategies are more effective for specific type of problems. Having a repertoire of strategies can save your time and resources. So you need to have a repository That means multiple repositories. You should have different ways in which you can approach a strategy that can really save your time and your resources. The third, the third important point that you have to keep in mind while while understanding multiple problem solving strategy is that how far the strategy is going to give a better outcome than it was there previously. Improved outcomes. We have a diverse strategy offering multiple perspectives and potential solutions, increasing the likelihood of finding the optimal solutions. We need to find out something that is going to give you the best possible outcome. That means it is going to balance all the other problems and all problems in general together. And coming to the last point of skill development towards solving multiple problems, we need to understand, we need to have an idea or awareness about the strategies that is going to improvise your skills, your cognitive skills, your critical thinking, creativity, and so on. As such, a good problem solving strategy requires lots of skills like creativity and so on. I told you about the problem, right? Imagine how creative they were when they came out with a solution of reflectors for the roads. It cannot be done abruptly. It requires a lot of creative thinking, a lot of, what do you say? To understand that it happens like this. It all came with a very single, interesting step taken to understand how the cats respond to bright lights. Okay. So with this, we are coming into conclusion of lecture number 2 for problem solving strategies, wherein we have understood the different steps, 6 steps of solving problems. What are the problems and how we are going to approach towards solving these problems. The next thing is about the importance of understanding multiple problem solving strategies. These are the 2 topics that we have covered today. Any questions? No questions. Good. So these are the 2 points that we have studied today. Thank you all for patiently listening to me.